and the power will return to equilibrium.
So that mean that Orville may be a coma somewhere?
He could be. Also, he's just could just be a ghost, and when he remembers, he'll get his body back. So you find that Cliff you find also that Orville is like, because he was the receiver of all the bad energy, the bad things. He's sort of like less of himself, and so that's why he doesn't remember anything.
Hmm. Oh, nothing in here about setting ghosts on fire.
So you begin to you begin to put the pieces together, and you look at the pictures. So Jezebel and Matilda look at the pictures of the students, and they're like, they didn't look the same last year, and they're like, I think, and they're like, they must have used the ritual to to stop being such fucking nerds and become popular. And then Matilda's like, yeah, because then if they put all of their nerdiness into Orville, then he would be like
The ultimate
the
nerd.
Oh, and that's why he's such a
yeah.
dweeb.
And then they're like
Oh,
like
like we're so normal.
and
I
then
wish it was
they're
normal.
they like they look they've all they're all like thin and they got clear skin and all that stuff. And I mean, they got invited to Tiffany's party. They didn't even get invited last year.
And they did this for one friend?
And Matilda says, no, to be popular, to be attractive, right? I mean, isn't that what we all want to be? Y'all, this is high school.
I'm already a freak.
And Jezebel says, but if you had the option, wouldn't it be tempting to fix everything that was wrong with you?
No, because magic is scary sometimes. Very, very scary.
Yeah, knowing magic, I have the option. I would just never do it because I'm not dumb.
And Matilda's gonna roll her eyes and be like, well, all of you can just be paragons, I guess. I'm just trying to make a point.
Anyone who knows actual things about magic tries not to do anything too big.
Plus, there's the guy who's already super pretty and popular, so it's not really, it's not really a
Cliff just
a
stands there and
priority.
sparkles.
Yeah, I just stand there and
Sparkle,
sparkle.
sparkle.
Anime
All right.
sparkles.
Well, Francis is different
And
because his father died because of magic, so
Ollie just wants to be normal.
Francis is trying not to go too hard and suffer the same fate.
does Molly want to be normal? But she wants to be normal, like, without losing her sense of self-righteousness.
Pretty much. She wants to be
Um,
the first fairy to go to college.
So then, let's see. So then you all are sort of talking about what could have happened, and Forsyth says, so if this is true, then all of you need to find out more information about Orville Stephen David, and you need to jog his memory. And if you can, then we may be able to save whoever Lazarus has been instructed to kill.
We can get something of Orville's. I believe I have the spell that might be able to jog his memory. It's hard to pin down a ghost, otherwise there is another option.
I can make him solid for a little bit.
Hmm.
You can make him visible.
Or visible.
And of course, if we get something from what's his name, Lazarus, we could actually keep an eye on him, or actually maybe even stop him from doing harm. But
But you need to get
Right.
closer to these goth kids. And then Jezebel is gonna look over to Cliff and be like, what about Echo?
What about Echo?
Matilda is
The
gonna
dolphin?
look all smug and be like, "You're going to Tiffany's party with Echo Tillman."
Well, yeah. I mean, do, do,
And Mr. Forsyth is gonna lean forward and be like, "Cliff, are you saying that you have an in with this group of students?
uh, 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 I
Do you think you could gather more information about them for us?"
oh man, do I really have to start mixing my job with my personal life here?
Is that what you say in character?
Yes, yes. It's like I know this is important, but I mean, I can have my own life still, right?
So Mr. Forsyth is like, if you're involved with a member of this cult group, then I'm afraid you're going to have to deal with the consequences. If this is your friend, she could be in danger, and really, it's in her best interest to help us as well.
All right.
We could get some really good information out of you, Cliff. So then you're all assigned then this weekend. If at this party, if these kids are, if the cultists are at this event, then you must find out more information about them, especially about Orville David, so that we can try to get him to remember exactly what happened to him.
Eric has to steal his Pocky so I can get the spell.
Oh man,
man.
that one Pocky
You read
that he's been
my
eating
mind.
forever.
Echo has some Pocky.
Oh my
that he
god,
gave
yeah.
her.
But it's not the one Pocky. The
The
Pocky
one
that
he's
he has
been-
been eating and then falling through him for the past, what, 4 or
Yeah.
5 sessions
It's
now?
not that Pocky. All right. So, with that, you have your assignments, and we've been going for a while, so I think this is a good place to stop
Alright,
before the party.
before I go to bed, I am going to give the motorcycle another I'm gonna crack at the motorcycle again.
All right.
And I'd go to the sanctuary and cast the spell for Fenris.
Oh, right. Yeah, we'll role play that in a sec. Yeah. First of all, Cliff, no, you do not hack the motorcycle. Second of all, Francis, yeah, you go home and describe your spell.
Well, it wouldn't be home because, like I said, I'd go to my sanctuary, which is in my house. It would defeat the purposes of hiding it from my mom.
Oh, right. So where's your sanctuary and your spell, and give me a description here.
Sanctuary would be kind of an isolate. Is there like a forest nearby?
Oh yeah, definitely.
All right.
There are as many plot convenient locations as are required.
All right. So, well, in that case, it's an abandoned cabin in the woods, like just near the edge, preferably near a lake and potentially like a cliff or something.
Let's say that it's somebody's vacation home that they're not using.
And inside would be, just some herbs, some components, and on the wall would just be a few symbols sketched into the wall. In the middle would be a semi-permanent pentagram on the floor.
All right, that seems. I mean, if this could be the cabin in the woods from the movie The Cabin in the Woods, in which case all of these things are true.
Well, he would have set it up this way because it's his sanctuary to do magic.
All right, so you're up in the old attic in this abandoned and unused summer home.
Right?
Campsite thing.
Campsite thing, yeah, yes. I will be using Binding Spell. I'd actually like to give it a little extra thing where they can't physically touch Fenris.
Ah, okay. Well, I think you have to roll for that.
I'll have to roll anyways, but... Alright, so that would be 2 plus another 1 because I'm in the sanctuary, and alright.
That's a good roll.
Yep.
All
So I
right,
went-
so you successfully cast this spell, so it just says binding him from doing harm. But what is that? What has that? So that actually manifests itself in that Lowell cannot physically touch Fenris, and Vara, they cannot physically touch him.
Well, yeah, the normal thing would just be they're incapable of doing harm to anyone. Like any volatile rule that would do harm would just they wouldn't be able to put enough force in to actually hurt them. But since I
Okay.
want to like adjust it for Fenris specifically, I don't want them to touch him because smashing his face into the pasta really didn't do harm.
Right. So then what's gonna happen to them if the next time they see him, they go to shove his face into his lunch? What physical effects will happen?
Well, it's up to you. It would
All right.
either be just he's like a brick wall to them, or they would actually get physically nauseous and ill if they tried.
I like that
See,
we're
that's
discussing this
kinda-
without Cowbox or Panzer here.
I know, it's
this is gonna be
great.
great.
So what
Surprise.
I was thinking, if you don't have anything in particular in mind, then I was thinking that they could be repelled by him as if he had, the same polarity of magnet. So they get close and it's like, and they can't actually touch him, and their hand is sort of pushed away. So it's like a spring kind of a thing. So that if they were to go and push him with all their force, then as they got closer, they would also get pushed back away from him with the same amount of force.
That would work. And there's another potential side effect because it's not usually meant for one person. So it might be that they can't harm anyone at all, but they specifically can't touch Fenris.
All right.
But that's up to you, since I'm trying to
We'll
personalize the
see.
spell for Fenris.
We'll see. I think it depends on who they try to beat up. I'll see who, because they might not be able to do harm to people, but if Lowell is going to do harm to a car, that doesn't really count the same.
Yeah, that doesn't count. But
All right. But yeah, they're not able. If they were to take another object and throw it at Fenris, it would also move away from him. It would bounce off, or similarly, or curve around him or something. It would not. They cannot hit him with other things.
But that'd be great if the first time they find out is in dodgeball class.
Curve the bullet. Oh man, it'll be good. That'll be good. Okay, and then there's not a specific duration, I guess.
Usually it's until it's either undone or just it's either until the caster dies or until the spell's reversed. Usually.
All right. We'll see. It'll either last until Fenris comes back to you and is like, no, I changed my mind, or until Vara and Lowell are friends with Fenris, which may never happen. One of the two.
Well, magic does kind of work like that, so yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. One of the two, but yeah, they can no longer touch him. They are repelled by an equal and opposite force, which will be really funny.
Especially since neither of them know about it.
Yes.
Unless they watch a stream.
Nobody tell them. Nobody tell them till next time. All right, and with that, I think that is the end of this session. Thank you all for being here. Thanks to the folks at home, friends of the show, for watching us make asses of ourselves on the internet and pretend to be teenagers and
Tending to be teens.
yeah.
It's better than being Mary Sue.
Well, I mean,
Y'all are all being Mary Sue.
the point of this game is to be a Mary Sue.
Every class in this game is a Mary Sue.
So I guess it's story time.
I'm gonna. Oh right, Torlon's
Yeah.
witching hour. Shall I? You want me to leave the stream running? Is that fine? Or
Yeah, can I play some music in the background?
Go ahead. It's like barely believable if you're not there. So go ahead. I don't care if the 27 people watching hear about it. But anyways, when I was younger, I was at a sleepover, and some of my friends were playing with a Ouija board, and they were like, "Oh, we're gonna call on the spirit of some whoever." And I was just looking at their setup, and honestly, it's kind of like it was like earlier when I just kind of point out what they were doing wrong. Like, no, that would never work. Because like candles are only over here, and I just kind of helped them make it an actual thing. But I didn't actually participate in the Ouija board thing. So they tried a seance. They messed around with it for a little bit, and then all of a sudden the circuit breaker actually triggered or went off. And from that point on, like, we were able to get power back on, but the lights kept flickering. It always felt like we were being watched.
Ooh.
And I actually felt like someone touched my shoulder, like, on the back a few times.
Ooh.
The temperature was about 20 degrees colder than outside. And just a lot of crazy, or not crazy, a lot of just like weird things were happening. Noises, things were falling off the shelf.
Oh, wow.
Like, literally something out of a scary movie, like a horror movie.
Did it just, like, when did it stop?
It actually stopped when I actually did a spell, it's a cleansing ritual that's kind of like an exorcism.
Mm-hmm.
And I actually wasn't totally sold on the fact that something crazy was going on up until I did the spell that was supposed to just kind of cleanse the air of dark energy and spirits. But as soon as I did that, everything stopped literally after the last word of the spell.
Wow.
So it was at that point I'm like, I am not screwing with anything supernatural, because what if next time I open a door I can't close?
That is pretty cool. My mom and her friends do Ouija board stuff. I didn't really want to do it, mostly because it was a bunch of moms doing it. But they have a whole story that they've made up based on this one spirit they claim to have contacted called Q. And Q apparently was watching them, and they were able to interact with Q multiple times while using the Ouija board. But it didn't ever do anything. They were just like, ooh.
No, like,
and they always like to refer to it.
Yeah.
Wow, that's pretty crazy.
Yeah, so the cleansing spell is the one I've probably used the most. I've cast 2 other spells, but for the most part, I try not to mess with supernatural stuff, because having dealt with it once, I don't want to do something that I would regret.
You don't want to, accidentally summon a demon like the main character in Hex Boyfriends.
Something like that.
So then, what's your thought on those ghost shows?
Some of them could be real, but at the other time, I'm not sure how many of them are just, selling for ratings. Like, I actually do like watching The Haunting, and some of them seem like something that could have happened, but I try not to get myself involved in that.
Yeah, because
Early Ghost Hunters was good.
My mom's like into those kind of ghost shows. I'm like,
I really
Early
liked
Ghost
Fear
Hunters.
on MTV. That was great. I love that.
Like, there's one
Was
show that
it?
You can go ahead.
What was that, Gaga? Was that like Blackout on the Sci-Fi Channel, where they put you in a completely dark room and make you touch things like a preschooler at a haunted house?
Pretty much. They'd yeah, they'd
Oh,
like
feel
go
these
to.
grapes! Know their eyeballs!
They'd like make them go to like old prisons where they cremated people too, and make them like spend an hour in one of the places somebody burned to death and stuff like that. And they all freaked out, and it was really funny.
Yeah, there's one ghost show that my mom watches. It's like one guy's an investigator, the other one's like some sort of psychic, and they just go in and do stuff.
They just do stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, that doesn't seem legit because I watched that a few times, and one's like, the psycho's like, "Oh, I've never heard of this story before," and then 2 episodes later, it's like, "Yeah, and then she mentioned the story how that was one of the reasons why she got into this business at all. As like a teenager, I'm like, huh, yeah, it seems totally legit.
Yeah, I'm not really sold on these shows because I always think they're just like making up stuff.
Some of them might be just for ratings, but
That was the one thing about Ghost Hunters that I liked, which is that they weren't, which meant that a lot of episodes they didn't find anything, or they found a reasonable explanation, or they found inconclusive evidence. But then the episodes that they did find something, it was like, well, seems legit. But as they went on, one of the women on the show left because she claimed that the Sci-Fi Channel was pressuring them too much to make stuff up and to exaggerate. So I don't know how long that lasted.
I think it's still on.
I mean, like how long they went in the show before they gave in to the pressure to just overact everything.
But yeah, that was my ghost story. I think I might have had a few more. Maybe it might have been paranormal, but that's the one that I'm pretty sure something went on.
It's pretty spooky.
Yep.
I just have happy ghost stories. I have a ghost story, sort of. After my dad's dad passed away, my grandpa, we were trying to get my grandma to move from their house to a retirement home, assisted living place, and she was like, "I'm not going to a home. You can't make me go." And my mom was like, my grandma, my mom never got along. She's like, "Oh, you're not good enough for my son," blah blah blah, and all this stuff, and being a pain in the ass, and it was really hard on my mom, and my mom was thinking while she was doing this, she was like, the only person that could get my grandma to do stuff was my grandpa. And he would just be like, "Oh, Esther, stop!" And then she would just stop. She would be done. And so she was like, "Ed, help me out." And then she went home, and like the next day we found a rounded toothpick in the center of the kitchen floor, which was weird because everything is always super clean in my mom's kitchen. And also, we don't use rounded toothpicks. We use pointy toothpicks. And the person who does use rounded toothpicks is my grandpa. But there hadn't been any rounded toothpicks in the house, in like my grandparents' house, in a really long time because it's been a while since my grandpa died and everything was like just stuff that my grandma used. And so we found the toothpick, and she was like, "Huh, that's weird." And then later that day, like a couple hours later, my grandma called her and was like, "Okay, I changed my mind. I'll go. I'll do it." And so my mom always says, like, "Oh, that was your grandpa. That was him helping grandma get over herself and go to the home."
I only really have one ghost story. Have you guys ever heard of the Bell Witch of Tennessee?
No, what's that?
It's there was a couple of movies based on the Bell Witch. I think one of them was An American Haunting. But the general idea is that the Bell Witch is a poltergeist that was punishing the Bell family for some transgression. And somebody actually died to said poltergeist. And it's, in fact, the only case in America where someone's official cause of death is poltergeist. And that is, I am a direct descendant of the person who died on my mother's side. So
Oh my gosh.
I'm not allowed to make any poltergeist jokes in my household, and my parents freak out over ghosts sometimes.
Wow.
So apparently my family has been cursed by a poltergeist.
I have 0 ghost stories.
Yeah, I got nothing.
Though apparently there's a witch in the woods that burned down the town eons ago, and she still kind of roams it. I don't believe it.
Do you live in Salem?
No. This is like some town up in the boonies. But Salem is a pretty good
Yeah,
place
Salem.
for Halloween.
Yeah, do you live close enough to Salem to like go there for Halloween? I bet that would be cool.
I think I'm like an hour-ish away. It's a very nice town.
That's cool.
Yeah, being a witch, I don't think I'd ever go there by choice.
Oh man!
That would be kind of mean.
Excuse me.
So Torlon is like, how did you become a witch?
Well, I mean, if it makes you feel better, Torlon, they're really sorry about it.
We're wicked sorry.
You know, it's actually funny you say that because the people who were burning them were Christians, and I claim 2 religions, Christian and Wiccan. So I'd be the person burning me.
I would stay away from stoves. You'll just burn yourself.
Oh, is that why I keep getting burned when I eat pizza?
Damn it, pizza.
School pizzas were always terrible.
Yeah, for real.
My school in middle school had some good pizza. Like, at the end of the school year, there were people, like, buying 5 of those things because I missed them, and then they all couldn't eat them, so I ended up with, like, 10 of them. It was great.
We're saving the good pizza in the back.
Yeah.
But Torlon, how did you become a witch? Also, do you use the word witch?
Yes. Because
Oh.
like I said in, I think this stream I was introduced in, being called a warlock is actually an insult. It's like calling a Catholic a Satanist.
I've only ever been called an idol worshiper as a Catholic.
Well, it's just, well, you probably wouldn't know that unless you're a witch, because it used to
Stupid
be.
Southern Baptists.
Well, the thing is warlock used to be the male version of a witch, but it just got used as like someone who was abusing their power, using it for evil and such like that, that it just became a negative term.
Spooky.
Okay.
Wicked.
So, have you ever met anyone that was using their powers for evil?
Not that I know of, because the typical rule is whatever you do, or it's basically there's a karmic thing where for every action you do unto others comes back to you. So most people are just, unless if you believe that rule, you're really discouraged from doing evil things to people because the negative effects affect you just as much as the person, or 3 times as much, with the rule of 3. So doing evil things to other people is just as bad for yourself as others.
Alright, so you got all these people, right? And they're like, we know stuff about magic, but they don't do anything. They just know stuff about it.
Well, you can use it to help yourself and others, you just can't really use it to hurt other people. I appear to be teleporting around the map.
They're waltzing.
I'm trying to fit them into places.
I like that I found some, like, spooky dubstep or something.
So,
The spookiest dubstep.
we
And it
get
was so
to-
nice.
We get to sign off?
Yeah.
I think we're good.
Alright.
Just as the song ends.
Well, it's been looping. So, yes, we'll catch everyone next time.
Next time.
Next time.
Good night, everyone.
Bye.
Hey.
Night.